So Mondays are normally massive. Wake up at 7 AM, drive straight into work, clean up some bird poo, have a workout, have breakfast, have a shower, do some programming, but not as many as James. Then check some email, film this vlog, present to the interns, have a staff meeting, and then we're coaching from 4 to 8. As soon as we finish coaching, I have to rush off to Nunawading for my weekly basketball game. Except this week's a little different. No basketball tonight because we have the bye. For someone like me, who doesn't get to play sport very often, a 14-day gap between games is a bit of a dilemma. Now when we talk about athletes' training load, we talk about their volume and intensity in terms of acute, what you've done this week, and their chronic, which is typically the average number over the last sort of 5 to 8 weeks. Now the actual number you measure can vary. It can be the total kilometres covered, it can be minutes of game time, it can be speed zones, it can be heart rate zones, it can be total kilos, throws, pitches, balls, kicks, tackles, punches. I mean, the list is endless. But the 2 most common you'll see, the first one, number 1, meters in zone 6. That's top speed running, so that's above 7 meters per second, and you want to measure the cumulative meters in that zone. Number 2, and the easy one to do if you don't have GPS, is rate of perceived exertion, or RPE, times the minutes in the session. That gives you a good idea of how hard the session was and how much time you spent at that intensity. Now the goal of all this measuring and analysis, the goal is to keep your training inside this bandwidth of what we call the floor and the ceiling of your training load. So in pre-season, you kind of want to ramp things up into that zone, and then once you're in season, you want to try and maintain things inside that zone of your training. Now it makes pretty good sense that if you spike your training load too high, you're going to open yourself up to a whole bunch of injury risk. But what's interesting is having drops in your training volume as well, where you go below your floor and then try and come straight back out of it, is just as likely to leave you open for injury risk as going high. So too much training, too little training, they're both just as dangerous for you. Which is why this morning, for the first 30 minutes of my workout, I'm going to try and simulate as much of the intensity of a game of basketball as I possibly can. Could not throw down just a couple of sneaky dunks on 9 3/4. Alright, that'll do. Back to it. So no matter what sport you train for or compete in, remember to keep your ceiling and your floor on your training. When the going's good, don't spike things too high, but then during the off season or the holidays or an injury, try not to go too low. And if you do go low, make sure when you come back, you ramp up smoothly back into things.